Hey guys, another brand new project in the shop, the brand new Axial Racing Spawn kit version. Got this in here just the other day and gonna get a chance to put it together finally. This will be out in stores very soon, but we're gonna cover what this new kit comes with. It's got some upgrades from the old version of the kit, and I think that there's some things in there that you guys are really going to like. All in all, looks like the best Wraith kit that's come out to date, which makes sense as this one has been an extremely popular truck. The Wraith, that is. The Wraith is hands down my favorite Axial and favorite RC in general. It is just incredibly versatile and incredibly fun. If I could only have one RC, it would be a Wraith. So, that being said, definitely going to be a favorable thing in my personal opinion as far as what I think of this thing, just because I know the base so well and I know that the upgrades that they did were very well placed and a good dollar spent for you guys who are looking to pick up a new kit. So we're going to get into this thing. I'm going to start assembling it. We'll go over what the new upgrades are as I get to them. Since this is a kit version and does not come with any electronics, I picked up a setup here. I've got a Castle Mamba Max Pro as well as a new Holmes Hobbies 540 brushless stubby motor. This is a 4-pole brushless motor that should have a nice amount of torque, but it is a shorter can. However, the stator is still nice and long, so it's going to give us a ton of torque. I'll go over what my plans are for this car in the end later. So with all that said, let's tear into this thing and see exactly what we're working with. Now, it's getting pretty late, but I did get this truck finished tonight. Now, I built a lot of Wraith kits, so this did go pretty simple and there wasn't a lot of surprises. Let's go over some of the upgrades that are in this, show you what they did and what is included in this kit. Now, one of the very first things you will notice with a kit is the tires. Now, these are the Axial Maxxis Trepidors. These are the S30 compound, not the R35 or the S40. Compound is kind of a middle ground between the super sticky R35 and the harder S40 compound. So it is still a good performance tire, but it is not quite as sticky as the R35s. Still, these tires should do pretty well for most people. Up front in this axle, you will see that it has the Axial universal joints. Now, these are a universal style front axle shaft, not a CVD or a dog bone, but a universal shaft. Now, these have always proven to be a really good shaft. I do believe that there was some issues for a short run of them, but other than that, normally these things will hold up to even some big brushless power. So a great little set of axle shafts that come in the front of this truck. Definitely a nice upgrade and something that you would likely need to buy anyway. Now, this kit does come with Axial's 3-piece beadlock wheel set. These things mount up pretty easy, and we will see exactly how they hold a bead. Before, like with the Poison Spider version of the Axial Wraith, there was some bead holding issues. The Yeti saw some of those same issues, but we will test, see how these Maxxis hold on this while running and just see exactly how that has changed or improved or whatnot. So we'll see exactly how those beadlocks hold up. They are a method style, great looking wheel, all black, nice and sleek, something that I do like. Now, something that is new for the Axial Wraith kit is these aluminum Icon shocks. A nice aluminum body shock, and it also comes with a machined Delrin piston inside of that shock for super smooth operation. Now, that machined Delrin piston, what that is when you've built shocks in the past, you may have had to clip that little shock piston off of a parts tree. Now, that is not the best setup because you have to trim that or sand that to get it perfectly smooth, or it may not be 100% perfectly round, just depending on the molding process. But those machined Delrin are a harder, slicker, and just all in all, more stable shock piston. It'll also help keep that shaft running nice and true throughout the bore during all of the suspension work. So a nice upgrade there. They do come with a plastic shock cap. All in all, these things definitely cycle nice and smooth. The shock shaft is a chrome-plated shaft of some sort, not the titanium nitride shaft that we have seen in the Axial Wraiths before. All in all, though, it's still a great looking set of shocks. Now, of course, on a styling standpoint, this truck does have a Lexan body shell, where the original Wraith had a Lexan hood and then smaller Lexan side panels that bolted right onto the Axial Wraith cage that lies underneath. Now, whether you like one style more or the other, that's completely a personal preference type of deal. Personally, I really like the paneled style when it had the more simple panels that showed off that Axial Wraith tube chassis. Now, I do think that the Wraith has always been one of the more scale trucks, and a lot of people don't get what I meant by that. But the Wraith before was really the only truck that you could get that had a tube chassis, paneled style, with a full 3D interior, the whole deal. So it really was a very scale truck. As far as the size of the axle width and tire size compared to a 1.9, it is absolutely still a scale vehicle. It is just in a different scale. It's a larger vehicle. There are buggies that run a much wider axle with a taller tire. Not everything is 1/10 scale. You can't just necessarily multiply everything times 10 to get the scale that it would be. A Wraith in general, I think, has normally scaled out closer to 1/8 scale, but it's labeled as a 10th scale RC, which usually has more of a reference to the electronics packages that we find ourselves running. One thing that I actually do really like about the new Spawn kits is the lightweight interior setup. Now, it does have that driver figure in the driver's seat as well as an open seat in the passenger side. Now, I don't like it specifically because it has a driver figure, although I think the driver figure is fitting. But I do like that it is a very simple one piece, other than the helmet, cockpit that is much lighter than the pan style with the 2 bucket seats. While those bucket seats were definitely cool, all those type of things. This is just a simple look. And all in all, I just really like what they did with that. It's got nice depth. Even if I switch this to a paneled style, it'll still look very fitting inside of there. Flipping this thing over, you will see that it does have aluminum lower links. Now, the Axial aluminum lower links use a 3mm set screw that goes into their bent rod ends. Up top, however, you still do have a set of plastic links front and rear. Those can fatigue over time and get a little loose, but you'll have plenty of fun with this truck with those links in there until it's time for you to upgrade those. Now, something that you can't see specifically because this thing is already built is that this does have the new 32-pitch gears in the transmission here. Now, that's a huge upgrade. This Spawn kit, I've also noticed, has a new machined aluminum spacer for the top shaft to put the spur gear out in the right position. My deadbolt has that same slipper pad setup, but it uses 3 individual spacers, and then it has 2 spacers behind the motor plate in between the motor to get the motor space in exactly the right position. Looks like Axial has done some updating on that and put out a new spacer. Everything now bolts up nice and smoothly. I did bolt that Holmes Hobbies 4-pole motor in place and didn't need any special spacers or anything like that. So looks like Axial's continuing to make those small tweaks that not everyone's going to notice unless they've seen a number of the Axial vehicles. And even then, you'd really have to pay attention to some of those little tiny details like that. This Wraith is the second Wraith to see the new updated Wildboar HD drive shafts. The other Spawn Ready to Run has these drive shafts as well, but that uses 2 female drive shaft with a male slider piece that goes in the center. Something that's much beefier than the original design, which you could pretzel pretty easy even with stock brushed Ready to Run power. This setup will run quite well. I run a Pro 4 HD on an RX-8 on 3S on that Yeti hanging on the wall, and I've still had great luck with that stock rear Wildboar HD drive shaft. So Axial did a great job with these plastic drive shafts, and I will leave them in this car until I find an issue with them. So I don't expect that to be anytime soon, and that's just something that's going to save you a little bit more money. Up front under the hood, Axial has also provided a new waterproofed electronics box, very similar to the design that they've used with the Yeti as far as the gaskets and things like that to bring your wires into that box. All in all, a nice simple deal. Placement wise, up front will be just fine. One thing with this Lexan body shell is batteries. Getting your battery in and out can be a little bit interesting. Now, the stock battery position with a Wraith is back here in the rear. Now, to get to that even would take some fiddling around depending on what windows you left in, how you attach your body, whatnot. Right now, I've got 2 screws in the body on each side here, and then I've got it poked through the grill up front with the front bumper supports. I will get that changed to my final situation a little bit later. Not exactly sure which way I'm going to go with that. Again, like I've said, I do prefer a paneled look. So I may keep this Spawn body, but I may do some serious trimming to make it fit more like a OEM paneled tube chassis. Again, so many options to do with a Wraith. In general, as many different things as you can think of is things you can do for body options and things like that. Electronics and things like that, I will get into that in later videos on this. A ton of different options there, depending if you want to go fast and bash, go slow and crawl, something that will do both all right, a ton of different options. So we will cover that, get into battery choices, battery positions, all those different things in upcoming videos. All in all, I just wanted to get this rig put together, see exactly how all of the new updates went in there, and get something out to you guys. I can't say enough good things about the Wraith. Again, hands down my favorite RC out of any brand, any model, just no questions asked. I'd love to have another one here to play with. I've got 2 on the wall. There's just always something to do with a Wraith that's new. This one might see 4-wheel steering and a crawling type setup. I've got one on the wall that I want to have kind of be my trail rig, kind of a do-all, crawling and go fast. And then, of course, we built them to just go fast. So, again, whatever you want to do with a Wraith, it can be done. With all of that said about this brand new Wraith Spawn kit, that will do it for this video. We'll see more on this soon, although we are very busy around here in the shop lately with trips and a lot of work going on that is keeping me from getting as many videos done as I would like. We will try and still get you guys some updates out on this and see what all we can get done with this thing. So with that, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.